God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Stugotz.
Thank you. We are inching closer. We're halfway through the season, man. Football is flying by. I say that every year, but every year football flies by. Does it not, Billy?
It does. It feels like it goes faster. What is it about? I mean, this is going to be deep. And by the way, we're presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. What is it about time that it seems to get faster as you get older? You know, like when you were a kid, it dragged on and you're waiting for Christmas and you're waiting for summer vacation and whatever. And it felt like it took forever. And now, like, I feel like we just had New Year's Eve like last week, and here we are, and it's about to be November. What are we doing?
Do you really feel like New Year's was last week? I mean,
New Year's that was a lie.
Happy New Year to you. I mean,
not so much for New Year's, but I do feel like the 4th of July just happened, right? Like that feels like it was pretty close.
Yeah.
I was going through my phone because like my daughter, like when it's bedtime, she'll do anything to not go to bed, and she'll just ask me like any little thing. And listen, should come as no surprise. I'm a sucker. I'm going to fall for it every time. Whatever my little princess wants, she's going to get. So yeah, we're going to start looking at pictures on my phone if that's what she wants to do when I'm supposed to be reading her a bedtime story while my wife is putting my other daughter to sleep. And then my wife will ultimately come out, and then my daughter will be like, it's time for a story. We didn't read a book. She's like, you were supposed to be reading a book. Why didn't you read a book? I'm like, she wanted to look at pictures on my phone. What am I going to do?
Yeah, they love to stretch it out. They do.
Yeah. So we start going through the phone, and I'm like, this was in May? This feels like it just happened. What? Yeah.
It's deep.
It really is deep, yes. Yeah. Does your wife come out? Does she get mad at you because the daughters, like your kids know, hey, if I want stuff, I got to go to daddy? That's it?
Well, okay.
Because you ruined, like, all the groundwork that she laid, you have ruined, Billy. I mean,
I haven't ruined, right? I will say this, though. My daughter likes to mess with me, and she's only 3 years old. So I have a long future of this coming up. Like yesterday, what she was doing when we were between when she's drinking milk to go to bed, and when she's asking me to look at pictures, you know what she was doing to me?
What?
She was singing the names of the boys in her class.
Yeah,
at 3, and I was like, you know what? This might be over. I was giving her the reaction she wanted to be like, what name is that? What? And she'd just laugh and think it's hilarious. So I'm not making the situation any better because she thinks getting me agitated is fun. So I'll give it to her. But then when my wife comes out and she's like, we need to read a book, she's like, you were supposed to be reading a book with your dad. What have you been doing all this time? I'm like, what do you want me to do? She was singing the names of the boys in her class. Not my fault.
She likes to agitate, Mikey A. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I wonder where she got it from. I mean,
what do you mean? Are you saying something bad about my wife?
I'm not nothing about your wife. I didn't say anything about your wife. Get out of here. Billy, do we have a daily fantasy game?
You can go to dkng.co/Smirnoff to join. $3 buy-in. It's presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. Last week, bounce back week for me. I finished in the 40s, just out of the money. This week is my revenge week. I'm coming for it all this week. Sometimes I say, you know what? I'm going to win this week, but I'm fine. I'm content just finishing in the mid 200s because I want other people in our audience that are playing against us to win. I want to share the wealth. Not this week. I'm coming for all of you, and I will win. I will take you all down, which means I'm going to finish in the 500s.
All right. Mike Golic is going to join us next. We love Golic. Golic is, listen, he's a family guy. He's a team guy. He loves our military. Notre Dame plays Navy. Do you guys think that Mike Golic might be able to find a spot in his heart where this story, this undefeated Navy team, is such a great story that Mike would be okay with Notre Dame losing to Navy?
No.
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 Okay.
No.
No. 2 definitive no's and a sneeze from Billy. Golic, next.
Can I just say,
range.
I love that Golic has somewhat of a relationship with The Rock.
Do you, Mike?
Yes, I do.
Really? Huh?
Yeah.
What kind of relationship do you have with him? Like, explain the relationship.
we know each other.
Right.
He's been on the show a couple of times back at ESPN, and I last saw him when the Super Bowl was at SoFi.
Right.
And he was on the field before the opening kickoff doing a big kind of get everybody hyped up. And when he came off the field, I was doing sideline for said Super Bowl. And he stopped and we kind of connected eyes, and he stopped and we chatted for a moment. It was when he was starting the XFL back up, and we were kind of talking about that and such. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's not like we have each other on speed dial, which would be nice, by the way.
But you have his number.
I do not have his number, no.
No. Interesting. Right.
Imagine The Rock has Golic on speed dial, and he's just upset that Golic doesn't return the favor.
Yeah.
It's that way.
Yes, that's it.
Mike, how many times do you get a text or a call from a number that you don't have saved and you just don't respond to it? Because I'm wondering, it's
All
very
the time.
possible. It's okay, but like for me, I know that it's like an insurance scam or it's someone that's trying to buy a used car or whatever, right? For Mike, it's very possible that not necessarily The Rock per se, but someone of The Rock's stature is just trying to reach out to him and talk some ball. And he just doesn't have the number saved because we know that Mike's not good about asking for numbers. And then these blossoming friendships and relationships go out to wilt and die because you don't know that The Rock is reaching out to you.
There's only so many times The Rock is going to try you without you picking up, Golic, you know?
So two things. One, if it's a text, they'll explain who they are in the text. Two, if it's a phone call and it's just a number that comes up, I won't answer it.
Oh, no.
And I figured if it's important, they'll leave a message.
Right.
So that's kind of
sometimes it comes with like a name. Like what if it says D dot, you know?
Well,
I'd probably pick it up.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a shot,
Right.
knowing it's probably spam and I'll have to hang up on them. But I'll probably give that a shot.
Okay.
I mean this the nicest way possible, Mike. Rock's not leaving voicemails for you or anyone else. You know what I mean? Like if he calls and you don't answer, you miss The Rock. He's not saying, hey, it's Dwayne, call me back. Here's my number.
It would be a complete missed opportunity. But I also don't think Dwayne's calling me. I think it would be one of his people that would be calling me.
Huh.
So at least I would hope anyway.
God bless football, by the way, Mike.
God bless football, Billy.
God bless football, Mikey A. So like you don't get like a happy birthday text or anything and you don't know who it's from? That happens to everybody. I don't ask. I'm embarrassed if someone's saying a nice thing to me and I don't want to say,
what do you do in that spot?
Who are you?
Well, Billy, what do you do in that spot? Because if I get a happy birthday text for a number I don't recognize, I respond, thank you. That's what I do. That's it. Just
Same. I just say thank you, but I for the rest of my life have no idea who that person is.
Well, I say a little thanks, appreciate it. Hey, you know, and try and say something general, but still kind of gives the feeling of personal, even though you have no friggin' idea who it is. Zero.
I think we should plan for The Rock. Get birthday texts or whatever, you don't know who it is, just be like, hey, how you feeling about WrestleMania this year? Just ask everyone how they're feeling about WrestleMania, and then when the one bites, you know it's The Rock, you know?
Yeah.
That would be it. That would be the number to obviously save then.
Right.
Somehow I don't think The Rock and I will be exchanging numbers anytime soon.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
Well, he listens, so maybe he'll hear this and reach out to you.
Squandered opportunity, Mike. I mean, I keep telling you, get these guys' numbers when you meet them. They like you. I mean,
I agree. I'm horrible at it. I've always been horrible at it, and I will continue to be horrible at it.
I think I have a solution for you, Mike, and this is like an interesting thing, and I don't mean to name drop here, but I did this with Aaron Schatz. So, Aaron Schatz.
Boy, what a name drop.
Not to name drop. I did this with Aaron Schatz. So,
that's a fine, by the way.
I know. I apologize, Aaron.
He dropped it so bad he had to pick it up again.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll edit that out.
He shats himself. Go ahead.
Well, here's how I mess this up. So before the Super Bowl, Mike, and you might find this interesting, technology is incredible these days. I got this thing called a dot card, and you're probably too big for a dot card, but this is a business card that just has a QR code on the back of it. So like the person, instead of saying like, hey, give me your number, whatever, they just pull out their phone, they scan it, and then it saves all of their information as a contact in the phone. So you don't even have to ask, like, hey, whatever, they scan it. And then you get it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. That's cool. I haven't carried a business card in forever.
Yeah.
But that's a very modern technology thing to do, and it's very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy. Because can't you kind of just touch phones and
yes.
Get like a number? I'd be afraid of what I might get or what I might lose and do.
That's how phones get a virus.
Yeah.
That's how phones get a virus.
Mike, so you're worried about what might go from your phone to someone else's phone if you touch phones?
I'm worried that I might lose information. Listen.
That's fair. Right.
I wait so long to get a new phone because the transfer of information scares the living hell out of me that I'm going to not get something that I need.
I'll tell you this.
$1 million idea, phone condoms. Just saying.
Oh, wow. Not a bad idea.
I like that.
Wow.
Wait, Golic's confused. Explain it to him, Mikey A, real quick, please.
You want me to explain to Golic what a condom is?
Well, I think I get,
Well,
just have to hope it doesn't break.
It's the
How
same
many kids
thing,
do you have? Maybe you
but
don't
a phone.
get it.
I think I understand. Thanks for the explanation, though.
The thing you use for your penis, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard of them. I've heard of them.
Phone.
Yes.
I'll tell you this. So I got this because I was like, Super Bowl, great networking opportunity. Let me get this, and then I can get numbers, whatever. The only person I did this with, I believe, was Aaron Schatz. And then it was like a confusion thing. He's like, how do I save this? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, you're the first one. And we're trying to figure it out on his phone. And then he left. And then I was like, oh, we should book him on the show before the football season. And I was like, oh, you know what? I never got his contact.
I was going to say, you're just giving your contact. You need the people to have a card, but most people will be too big to have a card like that.
Well, yeah, and also none of these people actually want my contact, so it's useless.
Right.
Yeah,
they know why you're reaching out, right?
Yeah,
to get him on the show.
Didn't work out.
Aaron Shots. It's more like Aaron Dots. How about that?
How about that?
You like that, Billy? Yeah. Billy, we should call Dots and get him on as a sponsor. We should.
Okay, sure. I don't know. I don't have their number. They have mine.
Nor are you allowed to call.
They have mine.
Anyway,
well done.
Mike, it is a big football weekend. It's a big football weekend for you. What do you imagine the scene's going to be like for Navy and Notre Dame?
Man,
I know.
I mean, wow, it's both with both Army and Navy undefeated. It is kind of scary times because Notre Dame's had a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Mike and I actually on Gojo and Golic talked to Blake Horvath the other day,
right?
And it's so difficult talking to an armed forces person who is going to play your school because you have so much respect for them. Like after playing Air Force, Army, and Navy, I mean, I would go across the field when I was at Notre Dame, shake their hands, thank them for the service that they're going to do for our country. And you were so respectful of them. And this kid's having a great year, by the way. And by the way, Navy's passing the ball on first and second down, which is something they haven't done. So, yeah, this game worries me. You couple their offense with the injuries on the Notre Dame defense and the lack of possessions that an opponent can get against an Army and a Navy means you got to make hay with your possessions. And Notre Dame notoriously comes out slow in games and sometimes gives up the lead. They were down 7-0 to Stanford. I mean, and they come out and with Army and Navy, and we'll talk about Navy because it's coming up, you're going to be limited in your possessions because they hold on to the ball. So this is tough on the defense because of injuries, and offense has to make hay early. So going to be, I mean, how cool is it? Army and Navy are both undefeated. How wild is it that their game at the end of the year
means
has
nothing.
No bearing on the college football playoff because it's played after the last college football playoff, but they could play in the conference championship before the college football playoff final rankings. I mean, it's kind of wild.
It is wild, and it's very, very cool. And Navy doesn't sweat Notre Dame, Mike. You know this. This will be the game against Notre Dame will be the least important thing done at the Naval Academy the entire week, and so they're not sweating Notre Dame at all.
We had the quarterback go through his day, And he even said, and I know I've heard it before, that football, they look forward to it. It's the easy part of their day compared to the other training and classes that they have. Yes. Football truly is an extracurricular activity for them, and one they actually look forward to breaking up how difficult their day is.
It's great. Mike, I'll tell you a story. One of the girls that I coached in lacrosse, she went to the Naval Academy. She had scholarship offers, full ride offers from every single college. She wanted to go to Navy. That's a life decision. And I'm talking to her one day, and she says, I got to go to shooting practice. And I said, oh, really? You got lacrosse shooting practice right now? She goes, no, coach, I have a rifle on my shoulder.
Yeah. It's a different world, man. It's a different world that they choose. I mean, but thank God for them. Thank God for the men and women that choose it to do what they do for us. But it's a different world.
Mike, I know you so well. So anyone who knows you knows this, okay? You want Notre Dame to win. But if you're going to lose and not make the playoff, you're okay losing to Navy or Army, right? I mean, come on.
If it's going to happen, yeah, I'd be, but I would hate it, obviously. It makes that Northern Illinois loss loom that much larger when you still have Army and Navy. You know, who'd have thought with USC and Florida State still on the schedule that it's Army and Navy that are the two toughest games on Notre Dame's schedule the rest of the way. Right.
Billy, no longer Army and Navy, no longer guys that Notre Dame politely picks up after tackling them very hard, huh? How about that?
It seems that way.
Kick
them while they're down, guys, it sounds like now, Mike.
Well, we don't want to go that far.
Well, I wouldn't. Well, yeah. I mean, thank them for their service, but you guys, I mean, trying to ruin their season and their dreams.
Yeah, well, yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Finally.
Yes, we are.
There it is.
That's competition, baby. Competition.
I love it.
Mike, we have a playoff game this week, huh? LSU and Texas A&M.
Yeah, de facto.
Boy, I tell you what, Texas A&M, since their opening loss to Notre Dame, has gone on a run.
Our boy Elko's been great.
Yeah, he really has. And listen, we know LSU always gets great athletes. They lost Perkins on defense a while ago. Our defense gives up points, but the offense is certainly can score points. This is going to be, I mean, we're the SEC and the Big Ten, the teams that still have to play one another, is really going to. We see the rankings are they are now. They're so going to change in the next few weeks with who all has to play one another. And how about Alabama, Missouri? Alabama playing for their life. I mean, they already may be out of it, but you keep thinking there's going to be a 2-loss team in the final 12, and Bama's sitting at 2 losses right now. So they certainly can't afford another one. Missouri.
Same with Missouri, yeah.
Yeah, Missouri started out strong and then kind of has petered out a little bit, but still just only the one loss. So yeah, there's some great matchups this weekend.
There is. Does Illinois have a chance? Illinois is a sneaky good team, Mike, with a good defense. No chance they're beating Oregon?
I don't think so. Of the two teams that we look at in the Big Ten that we don't normally see in the top 25, Indiana and Illinois, I lean toward Indiana. Playing better, but Indiana, obviously, they still play Ohio State. I think Oregon is hitting all cylinders right now. They started off the season a little shaky, got that big win over Ohio State at home. I just think they're kind of on a roll right now, and I think they'll handle Illinois.
If Vanderbilt wins this weekend, which means they will have victories over Texas and Alabama, should they get an automatic bid?
I mean, they should jump so high in the rankings.
Yes.
I mean, they're sitting at 25? I mean, they should be a shooting star if they were to pull off a win over Texas and had beaten Alabama as well. It would be incredible for a team that, you just don't think that highly of, and they're playing some excellent ball this year.
They really are. Mike, it's interesting because I was saying after Kirby Smart went with after that Texas game, everyone forgot about us. No one respects us. And I blasted them all week on the show. Mike, you agree. You cannot win 2 out of 3 national championships and pull out the disrespect card. You can't do it.
I mean, listen, Tom Brady did this for years.
Yes.
Right? He found a chip on the shoulder. And that's what you have to do when you're that good. You have to find ways to motivate, find a chip on your shoulder. Because you're right. You sit there and hear nobody respects us, this and that. You're like, Who the hell are you talking to? I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, same when Tom would say things, you'd be like, wait, are you kidding me? What are you saying? But it's their way to motivate themselves and motivate their team. So I get it, even though I don't get it.
Mike Golic is with us. Check him out. Gojo and Golic, 8 to 10 every morning on the DraftKings Network, wherever you get your podcast as well. You got a game this weekend, Mike?
I got a game, Dallas at San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, San Francisco, which is one of the MASH units this year, and Dallas, which is obviously struggling with their couple of guys out on the defensive side of the ball, but just a struggle fest. And I knew Dallas was going to take a step back. They did nothing to handle their running game. But you have Dak, you have CeeDee Lamb, so you have some power on offense, and the defense got to pick it up a little bit because, listen, having Micah Parsons out certainly hurts. Now he's probably getting close to coming back, but we'll see if it's this week or not. But it's been a tough road for them in San Francisco. My God, I mean, they used to lead every year since Kyle Shanahan's been the coach in yards after the catch, and a lot of that was obviously Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo. They're like close to last now in yards after the catch. It has taken such a hit on what made them run. But, through sometimes you find a diamond in the rough. Jordan Mason. I mean, Look what he's doing. Running the ball well. Now he's not that passing threat out of the backfield like Christian McCaffrey is, but still he's running the ball well.
Is McCarthy coaching for his job?
I mean, if the situation last year, we all thought he was going to be gone, right? I mean, going into the playoff, Jerry Jones was asked about his security, and he said, well, let's wait to see what goes on in the playoffs. And they talked about as bad as you can get smoked at home by a
guy playing quarterback for the first time in the playoffs on the road.
And he kept his job.
Yes.
So I don't know what it's going to take. And listen, I would never want anybody to lose their job. I hope everybody keeps their job, but we know it's the reality of the situation that coaches and players lose their jobs. But man, if he didn't lose it last year, I don't know. You just keep waiting for Jerry Jones to make that move. Everybody keeps waiting to make that move, but it just doesn't happen. And if it didn't happen last year, I don't know what it's going to take.
Mike, is it time? I'd be interested in your thoughts here as a former Philadelphia Eagle. Is it time to back off on Nick Sirianni?
Well, I mean, you mean
Mike, just leave him alone. Like, the guys made the playoffs the first 3 seasons. They're off to a decent start this year, and everyone does in Philadelphia is criticize the guy. He was a play away from winning a Super Bowl.
Well, that's Philly, by the way.
I know.
I mean, I played most of my career there. Right. You just have to deal with that. But again, they're 4-2. Saquon Barkley's proven to be one of the best offseason pickups without question, and certainly put it to his old team. How about sticking the knife in and twisting it when Nick Sirianni asks you, you're 13 yards away from your career high, do you want to go back out and get it? And he's like, now let the young kids eat. And I mean, that's just God. Yeah. That's just unreal.
You love that shit, Mike. I know you do. Right?
To say leave Nick alone, they're not going to. It's Philly. So Nick just has to deal with it. You have to deal with the situation there, and the best way to deal with it is to win. And they were winning last year at 10-1, and then it fell apart for them. They just have to win, obviously, throughout the season.
What'd you make of Tua's decision? Mike, this is going to be interesting for you because you're ultimate team guy. And so Tua coming back and saying the things that he said, that he's willing to die while playing the sport, essentially, that he loves the sport, cares about his teammates, all things I think people in that locker room want to hear. It might make people on the outside cringe, but I think his teammates want to hear that. And listen, he loves his teammates, he loves his job, and he wants to be there for them. So what'd you make of that decision and his comment?
So in this situation, I was always amazed at the analysts, former players saying, "Oh, he should retire. He should walk away from the game." And I'm thinking to myself, and I said on our show, why? He's a grown ass man. He can make his own decision. He can talk with his family. He can talk with whoever is in his support group about what he wants to do. He was cleared by every doctor. Not one doctor told him that, oh boy, you're taking a risk. And nobody knows what it'll take to get if and when he gets another concussion. I mean, it's still such a studied thing. It's so different than blowing out your knee or your ankle that you just don't know. He wants to play. Yeah. Who am I to sit there and say you should do this or you should do that? He's a grown-ass man to make his own decisions about his own health, about his own life, with his own family and support group. So, yeah, and if you're in the locker room while you're probably concerned about his health, like I said, this is a decision every player gets to make after an injury or whatever. You get to choose whether you want to keep playing or not if a team obviously wants you. And they certainly could need him. They were in a horrible position from a backup quarterback position. So from a football standpoint, they really need him. But I said all along, it's his decision. Why is anybody trying to give an opinion on what he should do with the rest of his career? It's his decision and his decision alone.
The only opinion that matters is Tua's. You're right.
That's exactly right. Between him and his family.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill said he cried when he learned that Tua was coming back. Not tears of concern, tears of joy.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. The way that offense has looked without him, I bet from a football standpoint, I could see him crying tears of joy.
Yeah, the way they look without him, though, makes you kind of question Mike McDaniel a little bit.
Yes, because you've seen other backups. You've seen Malik Willis in Green Bay. You've seen Marcus Mariota in Washington. You've seen other backups step in and be able to carry a team. A couple of years ago, Cooper Rush going 4-1 when Dak missed 5 games. And that's what a backup quarterback needs to do, is keep a team's head above water until the starter comes back, if it's going to be a few weeks. And that's what didn't happen in Miami. They just fell apart at the position.
We'll get you out of here on this note. Gojo and Golic, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern, every morning on the DraftKings Network, wherever you get your podcast. Also, he'll be on the Dallas 49ers game this Sunday night. Mike, if you're a player walking around the Jets locker room and there is some sort of Yoda of quarterbacks trying to tell you how to win football games and this is what we need to do, and then he goes out there and he shits the bed every single Sunday, are you, as a defensive player, starting to get frustrated?
Well, you as a defensive player, you just drowned him out. You know, you're concerned about your side of the ball. You have to understand, most players in the locker room are concerned about their own well-being. And the better they play, the better the team is going to do if collectively they all play well. But players are concerned about their own production, how they play, and how they fit on the team. So you can drown out a player. You know, if you don't like what they hear and you hear it constantly, you just drown it out. You just say, yeah, that's whoever being whoever. And the one thing you don't let it do is you don't let it affect your play, because you have to be responsible for your own career. And I don't mean the stars of the team who are going to be there, because 80% of the players are foot soldiers who can be replaced. So that, like me, I was concerned about my play. So if I had a star that kept, spouting off about something, I would eventually just drown them out and not give a damn, saying, I got to be concerned about what I'm doing on the field for my security. I don't care what the star quarterback is saying.
Mike, what did you make of the news that Robert Salah has now joined the Packers in an undefined role to help out their offense?
Role.
So
I mean, he's a coach.
Yeah.
You see coaches, he doesn't want to get out of coaching. He's too young still to get out of coaching. Now, at times you'll see coaches take a year off and maybe do some media, or just take a year off and catch their breath. All depends on their situation. I said this about coaches and free agents. Everybody is different. You go somewhere for money. You go somewhere for geography. You go somewhere for family. You go, and for a coach, do you just want to keep coaching? You want to keep your hand in the business. And he didn't want to take a breath. He didn't want to take a year away. He wanted to stay in it. So, I mean, more power to him.
I think he would have stayed away for at least the rest of this season had it not been the Packers. It's the ultimate fuck you to Aaron Rodgers.
How about it? How about it?
It's so good.
I mean, I think there's 2 stops, right? There's Green Bay or there's Buffalo. And you make sure, you know what? The Jets they're not going to win anyways, but we're going to make sure they do not win this division.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he'll be a coordinator in the league again. It's just a matter of who he's with.
Right, Billy. I like the idea of every team that plays the Jets hires him as a consultant.
Yeah,
weekly, for that
weekly
week.
Consultant. Yeah.
Lets him do the coin toss.
He's the captain, right?
Yeah.
All All right, Mike, we appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Notre Dame. Man, I wouldn't want to be the guy cheering for Navy's demise. I mean,
yeah, bad look.
Hey,
Mike.
man, it's competition. I love those guys for what they're going to do for us going forward, but I hope we beat the hell out of them in the game.
Right. Okay. Right. Don't win. Listen, win every other battle, just not the one on Saturday, huh?
Oh, no, we need to win the battle. Oh, yeah, for them. Yes, for them. It's exactly right. It's exactly right.
We know you need to win the battle, Mike.
Yeah.
All right. Have fun the rest of the way rooting against the armed forces. We'll talk to you, Mike. God bless football.
God bless football, and stop it, Stu.
Matt, we were talking about Tom Brady selling his watches.
I tend to agree with Billy. I don't know. Yeah, it's what is he doing? He's got a ton of money. He's got more money than ever before, but he's got a ton of attention, and he seems to want that every day too. So I don't know what it is. It's all crazy. I think some of what he does is definitely beneath him. I will say that.
This is what you do if you're rich like Tom Brady, and this is obviously horrible financial advice. If you're rich like Tom Brady, you know what you do when you have an excess number of watches? You buy a storage locker, you put it in storage, you forget that you own it, one of your financial people forgets to pay for it, and then like a couple years later on Storage Wars, someone accidentally finds it, and then they change their lives by selling your $6 million.
Or you just give it to your kids, and none of these watches really make or break your life anyways, and just pass them down to them, and they can have something that you wore and that was like something that was part of you. That's what would be my thought there. I wouldn't be going, wait, I own 10% of the Raiders. I probably have $400 million in the bank. Let me sell a watch to get the extra 5,000 back that that doesn't seem. It seems a little weird. I don't get.
Billy, why'd you turn this into a TV show we would see on like channel 244 on DirecTV?
Well, no, that was like a thing that happened. There was a show called Storage Wars where they would just find things, and it was like, oh, this celebrity, like. It wasn't on Storage Wars, but I saw a thing the other day, like on TMZ, and they basically, if you forget to pay your storage locker for however many months it is, they just go up for auction. So like this is a business that people go in, mainly like thrift stores. So they go and they bid that you basically like stand at the edge of the storage locker and look in and try to see like, is there something valuable in here? I'm just going to buy this for like $250. And then you go through and you're like, holy crap. So one of them was Kanye West a couple weeks ago or months ago. Just like for one of his concert tours where he had like it was a stadium tour, whatever, all of the clothes, all of the blueprints, all of the designs, all of everything for an entire tour was just in some random storage locker in the middle of nowhere. And they forgot to pay it. And now someone has all of these Kanye West things that are just there that now they'll resell and make a ton of money off of. Yeah. Hey, Chris, when are we going to the World Series together?
There we go. Good transition.
When are you gonna buy the $5,000 tickets to go?
No.
This was
not the agreement.
No. I mean, I thought it was 400 level, man of the people. I mean,
no. I told you when I go to Yankees games, I'm bougie. I only sit in the Legends when I go to the Yankees game. That's it.
How do you feel about Mikey A getting a haircut for the World Series? Huh?
Wow, look at that.
I know.
Damn. Yeah. Well, he had to change the vibe something. He had to get that ugly jetness off him and go Yankeeville. That's what he had to do. Had that jet stank on him. He had to get it off of him.
What happened to Texas? I understand look-ahead game, Vanderbilt this week. What happened to Texas last week?
Like, that was so bad. That was just...
I know.
I mean, that really, honestly, that was a lesson in physicality and toughness. That's what I would say more than anything. That, to me, is what jumped out sitting there watching the game. The Texas learned, like, oh, wait, you want to win the national championship or you want to play national championship caliber football? The level of physicality's got to go up. I mean, they beat us down. And to the point where, like, in the third and the fourth quarter, it looked like we were afraid to hit them, and they were trying to decapitate us. So, it was not a good look. They played too deep, like, the whole game, and we couldn't run the ball. Disappointing there. I think a little bit of a welcome to the SEC moment. I know we'll bounce back, but, yeah, I do think this is a lesson, and they got to get tougher if they want to play Georgia again in the national championship or something like that down the road.
In a strange way, isn't it almost good with the playoff system the way that it is now to have this happen to them during the season?
It is. I do think there's some, because one loss, to your point, you're not out of it anymore, right? Where like back in the old days, you'd be like, oh shit, now they might never get to show that they bounced back or got better. So there's some silver lining. They weren't outclassed in the game. I don't want to say that, but they didn't play their best football. And what happens, guys, at Texas, and this happened, and people will tell you this, and I've told people this ever since I was there. You're king of Texas when you play football there. There's no pro sports in a huge city like Austin. Most of those kids, their lifelong dream is to go to Texas. They feel like they've made it once they've gotten there. When you get there, and if you're a good player, Quinn Ewers, Chris Sims, whatever, they treat you like you're John Elway or Joe Montana, right? And that can be a bad thing. And especially coming off a win against Oklahoma. And then I can just picture before the game, there was 90 million stars there. And I've been in the locker room in those type of games at that school, and they bring all the stars through the locker room before the game. It's total distraction. Total distraction. I guarantee all that happened. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this star, meet this star, come into the locker room, doing all that stuff before the game. Distraction, distraction, distraction. And we got our ass kicked because of that distraction.
Interesting. PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America. Chris Sims is with us here on God Bless Football. We talked about Russell Wilson, Tomlin's decision to go with Russell Wilson last week. It worked out. It got off to a slow start, but it did work out, Chris. That offense looked better. What'd you see out of Russ?
I think he just has more of a natural feel to play the quarterback position than Justin Fields. I would say there's that, and then he is a better thrower of the football, right? And I'll sit here and tell you, I didn't think it was time to bench Justin Fields. And from everything I know, it sounds like most of the Steeler organization didn't feel like that was the right move. And Mike Tomlin wanted Russell Wilson more than anything. And so they made that switch. And there's a lot to talk about in that game. But what I would say is, some higher quality throws, no doubt about that. And then the other thing is just when I say feel of like, hey, dropping back and going, man, nothing's really open. Oh, wait, there's George Pickens. He's one-on-one. Let me put it in a spot where maybe he can get it or nobody else gets it and see what happens. And he made a few plays like that throughout the game where I would go, Justin Fields in those situations may be reluctant to throw that type of football, or he just looks to run. So I do think it gives him a little bit more versatility in the pass game. I think that's what we can look for more than anything. We'll see where it goes. But really, the big story is the Jets in that game. I mean, again, the only fucking thing that can beat you is George Pickens. But let's just leave him one-on-one. And forget against our best corner in football because we only play Seattle cover 3, so he can't match up ever. Let's not get a top 5 pick and go, hey, how about cover their best guy? Let's just go, no, you play your side and do that. Oh, okay. They let the one thing that can beat them. And then, Aaron Rodgers in his play, that interception before the half was horrible. It goes into, again, his lack of aggressiveness. He double clutched the ball. The guy was open. Then he threw it late and didn't throw it hard. 15-6. You're going to go put the game away. And he lets Pittsburgh get all the momentum before the half, and the game was never the same after that.
All right, so Chris, explain to me how this works in the locker room with Aaron Rodgers. First off, I hate that he called Devontae Adams the missing piece. No, Aaron, you were the missing fucking piece, not Devontae Adams. But how does this work in the locker room where a guy is walking around? He's won a Super Bowl. He's a 4-time MVP. We get the credentials. We get all of it. But he's walking around saying, hey, this is how you win. This is what we need to do. And then he's the reason you're losing games on Sundays. Quinnen Williams, guys like that start getting pissed off?
Well, they're not going to get pissed off yet. They're not. Rodgers has got, enough in the bank in that department where they're going to hold strong and go, wait, this guy has overcome these type of situations before. This ain't his first rodeo. So I think he's still in a spot here where he gets the benefit of the doubt in the locker room, and there's still confidence behind him. Okay. But at the same time, if it doesn't change here in the next 3 to 4 weeks, and then all of a sudden we look up in a few weeks, right? And they're, oh damn, it's 3-7 or 3-8, and they're not going to the playoffs. That shit's gonna get old in a hurry, and they're all gonna look at him and be like, "Be quiet. You're the reason we are 3-8, and all you do is talk, and you haven't played that well." So that's where. And I got, again, last week with that, and this is what I said when they traded for Davante Adams, I was scared they were going to fall in the same old traps. He was going to go backwards. Oh, check to the slant, check to the 2-yard route, check. And that's what we saw again last week. He did not play good. There was people open all over the field. Anybody wants to watch my Wednesday podcast that I do, Chris Sims Unbuttoned, I broke it down. I showed screenshots. He missed a number of plays and a number of open people. He predetermines decisions. He takes the easy way out a lot, not playing very good football. He's definitely got to play better if they want to turn this around.
Chris, what'd you make of DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, I think it's
fucking
awesome.
good. Yeah.
I mean, it's good. They needed it. I think they look at it and go, hey, we're really good, but I don't know if we'll beat the Ravens and some of these other teams that are top quality in football, the Lions in the Super Bowl, whatever, unless we get a receiver we can depend on a little bit. Xavier Worthy's still a gadget guy. He's not good enough yet to be able to depend on him and being your consistent number one. We'll build the offense around him. He can't play through contact. He's not very physical. He's a little bit of a straight liner. In fact, I don't know if you probably saw last week one of Mahomes' interceptions down the field where Xavier Worthy was kind of bumping with a guy. He fell down, and Mahomes threw the ball, and it got intercepted. Hopkins gives them a little bit of a matchup guy, like, hey, he's one-on-one, we can throw it, let alone he can be a guy almost like a big slot receiver who can read coverages, work the middle of the field, do all that. I think it's much needed. Kansas City needed just a little bump on that offensive side of the ball. They're getting better there. They're working this formula of 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. It's not bad, but I think this is an improvement, and they'll need this against the upper tier teams of football more than anything.
We'll wake up one day, a Sunday in December, and realize all of a sudden that Pacheco is healthy and Rice is back, and all of a sudden they have Hopkins, Rice, Pacheco,
if that
and
gets
Kelsey.
to that point, exactly right. And that's where they can be really dangerous, no doubt. And maybe they can get even Hollywood Brown back early in the playoffs and stuff like that, to where now you got that and the guys you talked about being healthy, and you get into the playoffs and go, oh, crap. Now they got a good formula, and they got their studs back. Watch out.
Yeah. Is Jared Goff the MVP?
He's in that combo.
Jesus.
I think you have to put him there.
He's been as good as any quarterback in the league, in the history of the league, the last 4 weeks.
Well, yes. Right. Yeah, he's not like get on my back, I'm going to carry you type, right? That's not that. But when he's got a system and you deliver some plays that are there to be had, tight windows, whatever, aggressive decisions, he never misses. One of the things I talked about this on my pod yesterday too, is one of the things I'm big on in evaluating quarterbacks is yards left on the field, right? You can go to some of these grading websites and they give a quarterback a positive, a plus. Ooh, he threw the 4-yard check down. And I want to go, wait, there was a guy open down the middle for a 50-yard gain, and we're getting a positive grade because he threw the check down just because he got a completion. Right. I'm big into that. That's how I evaluate college football, everything. Jared Goff never misses those opportunities. Never. Aaron Rodgers checks it down. Jared Goff goes, nope, he's open. I'm firing it. And that's what makes them dangerous. His mindset, his ability to not blink with people in the pocket collapsing and then throwing the ball down the football field. They attack on both sides of the ball always. The coaching in the NFC North, the game planning in the NFC North on both sides of the ball by all 4 teams is fucking extraordinary. I don't know if I've ever seen a division like this that's got the talent on the field and the coaching like this with every team in the division.
Someone else in the MVP conversation is Baker Mayfield, but now he's going to be without Evans or Godwin going forward. What do you expect?
Godwin hurts, man. That Godwin one hurts.
That whole thing hurts, yeah.
Oh, it definitely does. Baker, that was a shame the other night. When he threw that interception in the end zone, that was a Debbie Downer right there, because you were going, man, this is about to be a shootout. We're about to watch this back and forth. It's going to be 34-31, whatever it may be. And then, of course, he threw an interception, I think maybe the next drive or the drive after that, and they just couldn't keep pace after that. But Baker's in that combo. But again, as we know, you got to keep winning games. You got to be, to win the MVP more times than not, you better be the 1 or 2 seed. It kind of seems that way, right? And the Buccaneers, their defense isn't good, and now with the receivers hurt, that certainly makes me think twice a little bit about them. Big game this week. Does them losing those 2 guys, losing that game, I think that's an emotional Debbie Downer for them this week. I think they're going to lose to Atlanta in a close one this weekend.
Wow.
Chris, Anthony Richardson, what happened there, right? Because last season he came in and we thought, wow, this guy, he's going to be great. And then he got hurt, and maybe we were blinded by that and assumed, okay, well, he's hurt. Next year he's going to take off. I don't think it's a sophomore slump. I think what's going on?
No, this is what he is right now. No, this is why I, in my quarterback rankings, I had him somewhere in, the lower 20s. Because when you do go back and dive into last year, you go, oh, man, I didn't realize how many times he was 9 for 21 or 7 for 20 and missed wide open throws and didn't read the field or the coverage the right way. He's kind of feast or famine right now. That's why, last year was such a disappointment. He needs to play. He hasn't played enough in college, let alone in the NFL. So there's just little nuances about throwing the football, playing within the pocket, how to see the field that he's just not up to speed with that some of the other quarterbacks in football are. Now, he will make 4 or 5 of the damnedest fucking throws you'll ever see in your life almost every game. But the problem is it might be 5 for 25, and you go, well, damn, those 5 highlight throws are literally the only 5 throws he made the whole game.
But then missed cupcakes.
That's where they got to close the gap. That's where, again, that's where I'm not going to pick them to beat the Houston Texans this weekend. Houston's defense is very good. That Colts defense stinks. Houston should be able to run the ball, throw the ball on them at will. The quarterback play is not consistent enough for me to pick them in a game like this.
Mentioning the Texans, C.J. Stroud also, is it Nico Collins being out? Is this a sophomore slump thing where he's regressed? Are people just making adjustments to him? Like, he's had a bit of a disappointing season for what we were expecting from him also.
Right. I don't disagree there. The Texans have yet to play a full game where I've kind of gone away and go, they played really good. That was a good football game.
Right.
You look at their games, look at their wins, their losses, whatever. None of them are like, oh, that was impressive through and through. Right, there's something missing there. Their defense is a little bit what I would say feast or famine. They either force a 3 and out or you go down and score a touchdown. There's like no in between. Offensively, like Billy, they miss Nico Collins. Nico Collins is their star-studded number 1 guy. And as you heard me say for the last 2 years, Stephon Diggs is not that guy. When he was in Buffalo last year and even towards the end of the year before that, and right now, he is a number 2. And they're hurting because they don't have a number 1 on the field right now. Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs are number 1s. And then I think you couple that with a year of people kind of understanding the Bobby Slowick offense. Green Bay was all over some of their pass concepts and exposed some of their pass protections in the game this week. I watched that game closely on film. There wasn't much. It wasn't like C.J. Stroud was missing plays or throws, Billy. This is where I'll defend him. There wasn't much there. He was either like, oh, shit, I got to get out of the pocket because I'm under pressure, or it's, oh, no, nobody's open, and I got to try to maybe fit this ball into a tight window or throw it away. But Green Bay is really good. That's the first thing we got to talk about. But, yeah, Houston has not hit on all cylinders, as I like to say a lot of the time, at one game yet this year.
Green Bay is really good. Jordan Love is fucking great. What'd you make of Robert Saleh joining that coaching staff? The ultimate FU. Right?
Yeah. It's cool. And why not get more brain power, good ideas, right? Jeff Hafley's doing a really good job as a D coordinator up there in Green Bay. They're creative. They do different stuff. And now Salah can look at him and go, hey, do you ever think about doing this when they do this or whatever? So I love that. And I know LaFleur and Salah are very close. So I don't think you can ever, turn away more good football people in your building. But yeah, Green Bay, man, I'm telling you, they're young. Mm-hmm. They make a few mistakes. They're learning how to win. But I look at the Green Bay Packers as talented teams in all of football through and through on both sides of the ball. And I think you'll continue to see that as we go forward.
Not going to surprise you if they're in the Super Bowl. Is that what you're saying?
No, it will not. It will not surprise me or, deep into the NFC playoffs. They're that. I say this, Green Bay, if you just talk about pure running back running the football, right? I think Green Bay is the best running team in the NFL. They're better than Baltimore. Baltimore are the number 1 rushing team statistically, right? But a lot of that is because of Lamar scrambling and his runs. If you just talk about traditional run the ball with the running back, nobody's better than Green Bay.
All right, so since we're there, I want to end with Matthew Stafford. We'll get to that in a second. I'm just going to name some teams. Tell me if you'd be surprised if they made it to the championship game in their conference, okay?
Okay.
Just based on where they are right now, all right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Billy. The Dolphins.
I would be surprised. I would.
Okay, Dolphins Chiefs AFC Championship game would surprise you.
I would surprise me. I got to see it from the Dolphins first. I know Tua is going to make them better this week, but what I've told a few people this week is let's not forget the offense didn't look very good the first 2 weeks with Tua either. I do think football has caught on to that offense a little bit, and because so many teams have taken some of their tricks and their plays, teams are defending what the Dolphins do almost on a weekly basis now. That's the problem. When you're awesome, people start to steal from you. But yeah, the Dolphins part of that would surprise me, yes.
I was going to ask about that real quick, Stugotz, before I get to the next one. Like, Tua coming back will help, but Tua's not going to solve all the problems that the Dolphins have right now. Like, they're very injured to what you're saying. People have kind of caught on to them. I think this expectation of, well, Tua's back, everything's perfect again, isn't really going to play out that way. No,
I'm going to pick him to win the game, but I think it's scary this week. But yeah, I think you said it right. Hey, he knows how to run the offense, where to go. They're going to be able to be ultra aggressive with their shifts and motions again because he can orchestrate and do all that the right way and fake here and fake there and throw the ball. And he's real slick at all that, and that'll make them better. But yeah, to your point, they weren't clicking on all cylinders when he was playing. And of course, too, I got to think he's going to be a little rusty and a little bit in the back of his mind, like, protect myself because next concussion I get might be see you later, I'm out of the NFL. And I don't know how that doesn't affect your psyche and your play a little on the field.
Yep. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
You're
Steelers,
surprised?
I would be surprised, yes.
You'd be surprised.
I would be surprised.
Well, okay.
I know, I would. Okay. I mean, the Steelers are... they're one of those teams that usually the way they play as we get towards the playoffs, I root against them not to get in because I'm like, another boring wild card loss game by the Steelers. Maybe they can change my mind this year.
All right, Jets.
As it stands right now, I would be surprised. Okay. I'd be surprised. I mean, 10 days ago, I would have been like, I'm not that surprised. But with the way the Bills game went down and then last week, it's like, few more positive things before I can say, okay, yeah, I can see him back in that game.
For now, I'll take that flapping sound you made with your mouth. I mean, I'll take it. That sums up. That sound sums up the Jets organization right there.
It's tough, man. Tough.
Washington.
I wouldn't be shocked. No, that'd be one where I'd put them in there. I wouldn't bet on that, but I would not be shocked if they ended up there.
Dallas.
Totally shocked. Wow. I don't think Dallas gets in the playoffs. I'd be shocked if they're in the playoffs.
All right, Billy, you'll ask the next one. But Philly?
I wouldn't be shocked there either. Philly's got to play better, but Philly's team is an all-star team, and the offense has got to play better. The defense seems like it's turning the corner, but the offense has definitely not played a real good game yet this year.
Jaguars.
No.
I didn't ask the question this week.
They're on save your job on a weekly basis watch right now. That's what they are.
All right, two more quick ones. The Chicago Bears.
I mean, the championship game, I'd be surprised, right?
Okay.
I look at the Bears and go, I think they're playoff caliber, but to get all the way to that game, that's a different caliber. That's a little much for me.
In that division, too.
Yeah.
In that division
North
as well.
Someone's going to get left out, it feels like, of the NFC North, which is just a shame because everyone is good in that division this year.
Yeah. I know, but the fact that the West stinks and the East stinks might leave it open to where literally 4 teams could get in from that division this year. It could change it.
But they could eliminate themselves, right?
No, they could. It's going to be that. They're going to have to hope teams like the Buccaneers and the Falcons aren't dominant and kind of lose as throughout, that the Eagles totally or that the Commanders, take advantage of that division and maybe the Eagles don't get in and then only one team from the West gets in. That's how it's going to be. But yeah, when they start playing each other, there's certainly going to be self-inflicted crime on crime there.
Billy, Chicago doesn't play a division game until like week 11.
Crazy.
And then they play them all in the last 7-8 weeks.
It's incredible.
This one's going to be interesting
for Bear Down Billy.
This one, they're undefeated since you went to Chicago. We know. Oh, here comes the Bears hat, Sims. There he is.
Oh, there it is. You look better in dolphin blue. I'll say that much.
Thank you. Last one for you, Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna give up on the Bengals quite yet.
Thank you.
I mean, again, it ain't looking good, but I do feel like it's going in the right direction. I do think they can beat the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend.
Yeah.
I worry about them getting steamrolled in the run game a little bit. But if they can just hold down the fort in the run game, I think their offense will move the ball on this Eagles defense. I picked them to win a close one. We'll see where it goes. So, no, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bengals ended up there. It's not looking great yet, but I'm not giving up on it yet.
All right, we'll get you out of here in a second. PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America as well, the Cowboys and 49ers. What should the Rams do with Matthew Stafford?
I would keep Matthew Stafford. You know, I do. To find a quarterback like that is not easy. He's special that way. I don't think the Rams are real far off. I know this year's not going anywhere, but they got a good young group of nucleus of young guys, I should say. Gosh, if they could trade a Cooper Kupp or something like that and get a few assets, have extra money to play with next year, I could see them next year having a good draft, signing a few free agents and going, damn, here come the Rams. They're one of the better teams in football. So you'd have to blow me out of the water for me to trade Matthew Stafford right now. I guess that's what I would say.
Well, what if McVay thinks he's getting Sam Darnold back, and Sam Darnold has shown McVay enough where he says, hey, I can make that guy even better, and he'll be my quarterback for the next 10 years. Would that be enough?
That could be. And then you add on, some draft picks for that because it's Matthew Stafford, and he's greater than Sam Darnold. I don't think that's a crazy thought. I don't. I don't know how the Rams fan base will feel about that. My big thing is I just why would the Vikings want to do that? That's what I don't understand.
Right.
I mean, to me, the Vikings, they're one of the best teams in football. Why would you want to disrupt your locker room, your team, have all this distraction, all of that? You went toe-to-toe with what everybody thinks is the best team in football in the Detroit Lions. You had a chance to win the game. Yep. So I wouldn't abandon that if I were the Vikings organization.
I think the added complication to that too, right, is that what do you do with J.J. McCarthy?
Well, yeah,
right?
now what? We're going to sit J.J. for 2 more years?
Yeah.
Exactly right. There's a lot to there that just does not make sense. So, I don't get that. I feel like my buddy Mike Florio is trying to talk this whole thing into existence.
Right.
He wants it to happen, but he's like a Vikings fan who he wants the Vikings to win, but yet he always looks as Dr. Doom and has a negative look on things. And I'm like, not sure if he wants his team to fall apart or win. I'm confused by him at times.
Dr. Doom. Tell him to try the Jets on for size. Sims, get out of here. We appreciate it. We'll see you. It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. College football, week 9, season flying by. 3-8-1 a week ago. Whoops. Bad week. Decent season. 38-33-2, though, on the year. Here we go. A big week 9. Boise State -3.5 at UNLV. Buy it down to 3. Take Boise State. They win. They cover. They win by 10 points on the road. Memphis -18. Take it on Charlotte. Memphis wins and covers. They win by 21 points. Virginia -3.5. Take it on North Carolina. North Carolina is bad. I don't care what Taylor tells me. Virginia wins. They cover. The Cavaliers by 10 points at home. East Carolina -7. Take it on Temple. This is more a bet against Temple than it is on East Carolina. Why would I ever bet East Carolina? Bet against Temple. Buy it down to 6.5. East Carolina wins. They cover. East Carolina by 14 points. Big game. Navy, Notre Dame. Navy +14 at home to Notre Dame. I'm taking Navy. They cover. They win the game outright. Navy wins by 4 points over Notre Dame. Indiana. No one believes in them. They're -6, taking on Washington. I'm not even certain Indiana believes in Indiana, but I believe in Indiana. I am taking them to win and cover. Indiana by 14 points at home over Washington. Illinois +21.5. They're at Oregon. Oregon wins, but the Illini cover. Oregon by 10 points at home. Minnesota and Maryland. I'm taking Minnesota here at home. They're -4. Minnesota wins by 13 points at home. Miami -21. Take it on Florida State. Buy it down to 20.5. That seems ridiculous, but I'm doing it anyway because Miami might win by 21. Even though I have them winning by 28. Miami wins. They cover by 4 touchdowns. They beat the Seminoles by 28 points. I'm trying to figure out if BYU can win a road game at UCF. It's a different team when they're not playing in Provo. I'm taking them. BYU is getting points. They are +3 at UCF, buying up to 3.5. BYU wins the game by 7 points. Colorado -5.5. They're home against Cincinnati. Colorado wins. They cover. Colorado by 10 points at home. Duke +12, taking on SMU. SMU wins. Duke covers SMU by a field goal. Kansas State -10, taking on Kansas. Buy it down to 9.5. Kansas State wins and covers Kansas State by 17 points at home. NFL Week 7, 4-2 a week ago. I am on a heater right now. 32-19-1 on the season. That's right. So good, I'm going to say it again. 32-19-1 on the season. How about that? Bengals -2.5 at home. They're taking on the Eagles. The Bengals win and cover. Bengals by 7 points at home. Lions -11.5 taking on the Titans. Titans are bad. Lions are really good. I'm taking the Lions here to win by 21 points at home. They cover the spread. Packers, really good. -3.5 at Jacksonville. Really bad. I am buying it down to 3. I'm taking the Packers. They win the game by 14 points on the road. Bills traveling to Seattle. Seattle, can't figure that team out. Bills, I know they're good. Whenever I have a matchup of a team I can't really figure out versus a team that I know is good, I take the team that I know is good. How about that? That's some gambling advice. Bills, buy it down to 2.5. They win, they cover. The Bills by 10 points on the road. Bears -3 at Washington. Washington, sneaky good. Bears, also sneaky good. Couple of sneaky good teams cutting it up. I don't know if Jaden Daniels is playing. I'm taking the Bears. Buy it down to 2.5. The Bears win by 10 points on the road. Chargers, -7. Taking on the Saints. Saints are awful. Buy it down to 6.5 points. Chargers win the game by 10 points at home. Broncos, -10, taking on the Panthers. Buy it down to 9.5. I can't believe I'm taking the Broncos to cover a spread this big, but I am, and I'm on a heater. The Broncos by 14 points at home over the Panthers. We wish Andy Dalton a speedy recovery. The Red Rifle, Dallas, big game. Oh, this brings me back to a time. Dallas +4 at San Francisco. I am taking the Cowboys to cover and win the game outright. Dallas wins by 7 points on the road. Mike McCarthy keeps his job for another week. Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.